Alright, welcome back to the channel. If you're just joining me for the first time, then welcome. There was a time America solved problems with more steel. Not better software, not lighter gear, not cleaner solutions, just more machine, more weight, more firepower. And for a while that worked. The Browning .50 caliber machine gun was built for a kind of warfare that didn't ask for subtlety. It asked for reach. It asked for power. It asked for something that could keep firing when the battlefield got loud, fast, and ugly. That's exactly what this thing was.
43 German planes were shot down.
The .50 cal wasn't just some oversized machine gun bolted onto old trucks and airplanes. It was one of the clearest examples of how America thought in the middle of the 20th century. If something was too far away, hit it harder. If something was too tough, bring more gun. If something was coming through the sky, across a field or over a ridge line, put enough steel in the air to make it regret it. That was the logic. And to understand why this gun mattered, you've got to understand the man behind it. John Browning had already changed the shape of modern firearms before the .50 caliber machine gun ever showed up. Shotguns, pistols, machine guns, his fingerprints were all over the 20th century. But the Browning .50 wasn't just another successful design. It was a weapon built for a world that believed size and durability solved real problems. It came out of the First World War when militaries were learning that in real time, the armor was getting thicker, aircraft were getting tougher, flying higher, and the old calibers weren't always enough. So Browning scaled the concept up. What came out the other side was the M2. Once America had it, they put it everywhere. On half-tracks, on tanks, on ships, on bombers, on fighter escorts, on defensive positions. Just about any platform that needed reach and authority and could support the weight. That's why the .50 cal became more than a gun. It became a tool of American scale. This wasn't precision in the modern sense.
Let her go.
It wasn't about shrinking everything down and solving problems with the smallest possible footprint, one shot, one kill. It was the opposite. The .50 cal belonged to an era when America had factories, raw material, and the confidence to answer problems with bulk, durability, and overwhelming force. If you needed to chew through light cover, it could do it. If you needed it to reach farther than a rifle ever could, it could do it. If you needed to mount something on a vehicle or an aircraft and trust it under punishment, this was one of the answers. That's why it fit World War II so well. Because World War II was a war of production as much as anything else. War of assembly lines, war of engines, fuel, steel, shipping, and replacement parts.
Coming
war
out.
Where the side that could build, move, and sustain the most hardware had a real advantage. The Browning .50 fit right into that world. It wasn't delicate, it wasn't fashionable, it wasn't trying to be clever.
Check that pin.
It was heavy, it was violent, and it worked. You can feel that even now. You can feel it in the weight of the gun. You can feel it the way the action moves. You can feel it in the sound more than anything. Every shot feels like a machine doing exactly what it was built to do. There's no mystery to it, no pretending it was something it isn't. It's a belt-fed answer to a very old American instinct. If the problem is big enough, meet it with something bigger. And the truth is that mindset didn't stay in World War II. The M2 outlived the war it became famous in. It stayed through Korea, through Vietnam, the Cold War, and after a lot of supposedly more modern systems came and went, the old Browning was still there. That tells you something. Not just about the gun, but about the standard it had to meet. A lot of weapons are remembered because they're iconic. The .50 is remembered because it stayed useful. That's a different kind of legacy. Now warfare changed. Tools got more specialized, more precise, more optimized. Modern militaries still use the M2, but the world around it changed and philosophy changed too. Today, the emphasis is usually smaller, faster, smarter, more efficient, less weight, less exposure, and less wasted motion. There's a lot of good reason for that, but there was a time when America looked at danger and answered it with mass. noise, and steel. With a machine gun big enough to ride on trucks, aircrafts, fortifications, and ships, kept earning its place decade after decade. That's what the Browning 50 represents to me. Not just firepower, a certain kind of national confidence, a belief that if something needed to be built, you built it strong. If something needed to fight, you gave it enough gun to matter. And if something proved itself in a war, you kept it around. The 50 cal machine gun isn't subtle. It was never meant to be. It came from America that didn't mind building heavy, overbuilt answers to hard problems. For a very long time, that answer worked.